Hello, my name's Linda. I'm a UK independent Stampin' Up demonstrator and I'm making a card today. Probably a birthday card, could be an anniversary card, whatever you want to put on it really. I'm using the Jar of Flowers and the Birds and Branches bundles. I'm using a couple of dies from here as well. I'm actually only using the flower on this stamp set. And I'm going to be using the jar and the water on this stamp set. I've already gone ahead and done a little bit of preparation. I've used pear pizzazz and soft sea foam, and I've cut out 3 of these ones, 1 of these, and this is a vellum. You can use whatever colours you want, and if you've got different branch dies, different flower dies, you can use those. I'm going to be using thick Whisper White for our card base, and then I'm using the In Good Taste Designer Series paper. It's really lovely Designer Series paper. I'm using it loads at the moment. I've cut this piece at 5 centimetres by 9.5 centimetres, and this one is 9.5 by 20.5. Put those to one side, and we're going to start by cutting our card base. With our long side at the top, we're going to cut this at 20 centimetres. And then move it along to 10 and score. Don't cut, score. This is going to be our card base. I'm just going to go ahead and burnish this. If you do happen to be working in inches, it's just under 4 inches this way and 8 1/4 inches this way. So I'm going to go ahead and start putting the background together. So this is going to be going on like this. I've made it so there's a little tiny border all the way around. This is meant to be our table. This is going to be the wall behind. So all we're going to do is stick this to this. Just using a bit of Tombow glue. And you want to get that so it's nice and straight at the edges. Now if you want to do a little bit of sewing, on one of my cards I have done, I've stitched around the edges, all the way around the edges here. So if you want to do that, now's the time to do it. I'm actually going to try something different. So I've got one of these, this is a sewing piece of equipment, and it's for tracing, I think, where you sort of tracing patterns. I'm just going to run this around the edges to give a little stitched feel to it. I'm just going to use a metal ruler. If you don't have one of these, you could, I don't know why I'm using the ruler, I keep going off. If you don't have one of these, you could just use a pen, go around the edge and with a black marker pen and do a little stitching. I'm not sure if you can see it. Then we're just going to stick this onto the front of our card. So couldn't be simpler, just a bit of Tombow. Going to do some stamping now. I'm using Just Jade, one of the new in colours. And I'm using this really pretty flower from the Birds and Branches. And I think I only need 3. You could put more on. I'm going with 3 today, and then I'm going to die cut these with that small die I showed you earlier. And I've actually put some dimensionals on the back as well, so I'm going to put those to one side, ready for later. I've put my jar in the Stamparatus ready. I have my acetate in here, and I'm using Stays On for this. Going to ink this up. Take it off the black so you can see, and there we go. So you're just going to need to leave that just to dry for a few moments, and once it's dry you need to fussy cut this. You can't use acetate in your punch, so you just need to cut around that with your scissors. It's quite easy to do. I'm using Pool Party next, and I have this half jar stamp, and I'm going to turn it so you've got the ridgy bits on the other side. So I just want the back of the stamp. So we're going to stamp onto vellum, and it can be a bit slippy, so you need to commit. So put your stamp down and hold it, and then just leave it, don't let it slip or slide. And there we go. And if you can see, there's some little sort of bubbles in there, and I like that. That's just what we want, because we want this to be water in our jar. Again, we're going to need to leave this to dry, so it takes a few moments to dry. So I've done some before I started filming, so we can keep moving on. Here's the one that I did before I filmed. So we can use our punch for this, or you can just fussy cut it. Just going to punch this out and then just cut round the little bit at the top. I'm going to work with the jar now. I'm just taking the backing off of my acetate there. I want to put the water in my jar like so, but because we're using vellum and acetate, you can quite often see through, so we need to be careful with our gluing. So this is the side that I've done my stamping on, so I'm going to turn it over so we've got the good side down the bottom, and I'm going to use fine tip glue. So I'm just going to run around the edge and actually just wait for it to dry a little bit, so it's not so wet but it is starting to get tacky, and then we're going to stick this on. And there you go. Might just need to snip a little bit off down the edge there. Okay, so I'm going to leave that to dry. I've waited for my jar to dry, and now we're going to do some sticking. So our jam jar is going to be on our table here, so in the middle, and so we want to keep making sure that our stems are going to fit in. So with the vellum one, I'm not worried that it's not going to be in the jar. I want it to be up a bit higher on the card. And then my pear pizzazz, I do want that to be in the jar, so just need to make sure your stems are going into the jar. The soft sea foam, I want it to be going a little bit lower, and then I have another one of soft sea foam, and I've just snipped it, so don't be scared to cut your dies a little bit, and I want that to go a bit lower down the bottom. So it is a case of keep moving the jar and making sure everything is in the correct place. So I'm going to start with my vellum. I'm using my fine tip glue again. I'm just putting little dots onto my leaves and my berries. And then I know I want it sort of up the top there. Push down. So I'm going to put my pear pizzazz in now. Put more in, you can put less in, you can put something different in, use different colours. There's quite a lot of possibilities actually. You could make cards through the season, so you could make a Christmas one with some holly, some nice red berries. So we're now ready to stick our jar on, and I'm going to use fine tip glue again. I'm going around the edges, so you want your glue to be in the black areas if possible, because you won't see it so much. And if you do see it, it's not too bad on this card, because it just looks a little bit like water. So I'm just going to lay my punch on that and wait for it to dry. I've left that about 5 minutes, and yeah, that is nice and dry. I'm just going to add a few of the flowers that we made earlier now. And there we go, I've finished. You could add different coloured flowers, you could definitely add more flowers. And when I come to send this card, I will probably put a sentiment at the bottom here. And here's another one that I made, and this is with the stitching. So I used an old needle in my sewing machine and just stitched round. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Please give me a thumbs up if you did. And please, if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching. Bye.